Wij zijn in 2008 opgestart met een bewaakte truckparking. Dus hier kunnen een 100-tal vrachtwagens parkeren. We hebben dan een voorziening van een restaurant, winkel, douches, toiletten voor de chauffeurs. En door de loop van tijd zijn er ook de lokale mensen van in de buurt mee op de kar gesprongen. In 2011 hebben we eigenlijk van de ruimte die we hadden voor de vrachtwagens op te zetten, gebruik gemaakt om een groot dak te bouwen samen met Viewtech, om die ruimte te gebruiken voor zonnepanelen op te leggen.
At the Cloverleaf site, we have 7,000 of them, so each of them capture sunlight, and they convert that sunlight to electricity. This electricity goes through a lot of stages, through inverters, and then goes onto the grid. They can use that energy directly, so Cloverleaf itself with the truck stop that contains it. But also the excess energy will flow to the grid and to the consumers that actually use the energy in the street, for example.
The customer here was really searching for green electricity, but also a cheaper way to produce the electricity, and was really focused on his core business, what is the truck stop here at the Cloverleaf project. So he was searching for a partner that not only built the production facility, but also maintained it, and so that the customer don't have any maintenance issues or unexpected costs. And that's why we agreed on a build and maintain model, where a service agreement.
Dus truckstop en brandstof en kerfs overdag natuurlijk kan volledig draaien door de opwekking van de zonnepanelen van Viewtech. In 2018 zijn we aangesproken geweest door Tesla. Kijk, dit is wel een super locatie om een supercharger te zetten. Zijn we rond tafel gaan zitten en hebben we na een paar vergaderingen uitgekomen. Dus dat we 12 superchargers van Tesla hier kunnen zetten. Het leuke aan dit verhaal is natuurlijk dat al de stroom die nu momenteel opgewekt wordt, ook hier ter plaatse blijft en die wordt niet op het net gezet. Het nadeel is natuurlijk, in de nacht wordt er geen stroom opgewekt en daarom zitten we nu eigenlijk aan het bekijken van kunnen wij een batterij, onze stroom die we overdag op het net moeten zetten, kunnen we die hier houden en dan kunnen we die 's nachts zowel truckstop zijnde, de frigo's, airco's laten bollen, maar ook een Tesla die zich komt opladen, dan kunnen we daar de stroom terug van afnemen.
The key thing of using batteries is you want to use as much energy that you produce with your solar modules yourself. But to do this, you have to store that energy temporarily into a battery. And in the evening, for example, when the sun goes down, you can use that battery power in your own company, for example.
One of the goals we have is to see that the electricity we produce is mainly goes to the site owner and the excess is as low as possible. And that's actually what Viewtech does as an owner, is see what possibilities are there to look at the consumption and the production and how can we meet the demand. And so we look all the time at opportunities to get a higher auto consumption so that green production is consumed locally.
So the main goal is actually to raise your direct consumption level. So at the beginning, with no batteries installed or anything else, we were at a level of 22.1%. And our goal is actually to be at about 50% direct consumption. So this means that less power needs to be bought from the grid, and it's much more interesting for the end users.
De elektrische rijders, degenen die hier komen, krijgen we positieve feedback van. Eén, het gaat snel, het zijn superchargers, ze worden snel geladen. Twee, een elektrische rijder die neemt zijn tijd moet zijn tijd nemen om te laden, dus die combineert dat met een beetje werk of hij combineert dat met een tasje koffie of een snacksje.
At the site, they're currently working already with Tesla superchargers, but they're planning to install even more superchargers, but not for Tesla. So the consumption level will rise for sure. And also, because they're a truck stop, they are also planning for the future and even want to install superchargers maybe for trucks if they become available.
One of the projects we've done now with Circusol is implement second life batteries. To give you an idea, a local household consumes 10 kilowatt hours a day. An average electrical vehicle has a battery of 70 kilowatt hours. So it means you have the energy to live 7 days stored in your car. But those cars at a certain moment don't have the capacity of the battery is not enough, or the power of the battery is not enough anymore. And then instead of recycling it, we give it a second life. And this is a perfect example. We are really convinced that energy storage will be a very big market the next 10 years.
EV batteries are normally at the highest standard possible as a battery. So these batteries can deliver really high power of currents, but after a while, of course, when you drive around a lot, the power can drop from those batteries, that's for sure. But still, that power is still quite enough to have a storage system, because the power levels on these kind of systems are usually much lower than the power needed for electric vehicles. So after the lifetime of an EV, you still have the lifetime for a storage system, for example.
And we are sure that the electrical vehicle market will have a big impact on the local consumption here. If you look at the location of this site, it's really perfectly suited for charging electrical vehicles that pass by. That's why we have the superchargers. But also for sure in the future there will also be electrical trucks. That's maybe a little bit a far future, but it's a truck stop. And once you get the evolution from normal trucks today to electrical trucks, yeah, then probably we will not be thinking about do we need a bigger battery, but we will be thinking of how can we increase the PV power, because we don't have enough electricity. So we are quite sure, if you look at what's happening on the market, that the self-consumption rate will increase for sure the next years.
I think it's quite replicable, this situation, because not only for truck stops, for example, because you have a large parking lot and stuff like this, and you have a really high direct consumption, for example, if you have superchargers for electric vehicles, so you have a high consumption level. But also implementing a second life battery is quite useful in those cases for the periods that you have a lot of solar power available, and then you can store that to the storage system, like the second-hand battery modules. So households can also use second life battery packs for sure. It's actually the same thing. So when you choose between a large system or a smaller system, the batteries themselves are the most expensive cost of the entire system. So if you have lower costs of battery cells, it's much more interesting for everybody.
Wij hebben eigenlijk de meeste winst als een Tesla-rijder overdag komt laden. Dus en mits dat de batterij is, ja, dan mag je komen laden wanneer dat hij wil, dan is dat altijd goed. En dan denk ik dat het win-win-win is. Win voor ons, win voor FuTech, want ze kunnen de stroom hier houden. En ook win voor Tesla, want dan is de groene cirkel helemaal rond eigenlijk.